In a world where technology is constantly helping us to work smarter, we're always looking for ways to save time and simplify our daily workflows, and filmmakers and video editors are absolutely no different. The more we can streamline repetitive tasks and optimize our post-production, the more time we can spend on creativity. Or just playing that, paper toss game on your iPhone. Whatever floats your boat, really. Now, I found two wonderful bits of kit which can do exactly that. Not only can they streamline and optimize your workflow, not only while you're editing or doing video stuff, but generally anything that you'll be doing on the computer, they also are nice and friendly on your wallet. Win-win. Let me explain. Now, as always, a disclaimer. These two pieces of kit were sent to me by Ulanzi. No money has exchanged hands, and they don't get to see the video before it goes out. All the opinions are my own. I can say exactly what I want. This stuff, genuinely good. Keep that in mind. Anyway, back to the video. Now I hear you saying, Alex, what are these things? And here they are, okay? They are two controllers from a company called Ulanzi. This one, the smaller one, is the Ulanzi D100X. And it is a controller with a simple dial in the middle, 3 switches at the top, and then on each side, 2 more switches. And then this is the Ulanzi D200X. It is basically their version of the Stream Deck. It's got a bunch of buttons here which have screens which you can load up your own icons, a couple of dials, and some buttons here. Now, controllers are great. I love controllers. I think shortcuts are great. Hotkeys and learning all the hotkeys is essential for video editing and many pieces of software, I should say. But learning hotkeys can get laborious. I have hotkeys on my keyboard for lots of stuff. There is a million things, but controllers make it one step better because they'll do multiple button presses or things that you use all regularly to hand. I have the DaVinci Resolve Speed Editor down here. Fantastic. I love a dial for scrubbing forwards and backwards, either through clips or through the timeline. Regular features like ripple delete. It's nice to have these all on hand. Also, I have the DaVinci Resolve Micro Color Panel. Another thing, which yes, you can do it with a mouse, but it just feels more tactile. So not only is it more tactile and nice and feels more natural to use a lot of these controllers, but it saves time. Now, the DaVinci ones are not cheap, but these ones are, because the fact that these controllers are not just software specific like the Resolve ones that only are used in Resolve, these become very handy just for using the computer in general. So yeah, let's take a closer look. Now the D100H may look pretty small in size, but actually it's got quite a lot which it offers. 7 buttons and the dial, and including the dial can actually be pressed as another button, so 8 buttons in total. This means that you can program 8 different functions and the dial function in every piece of software. I'll get into the software later, but you can basically customize these buttons to do whatever you want. Whatever you use regularly, these can be programmed to do. Maybe you want to scrub along the timeline. I don't need that because I have the DaVinci Resolve controller. But for zooming, moving backwards and forwards down the timeline, that's kind of nice. If you'd like to ripple delete a lot or select everything back from the playhead or forward from the playhead, which I do, these buttons at the top, perfect for that. So you can do that for one piece of software, and then in another piece of software, you can select the buttons to do a completely different function. And this thing is Bluetooth, so you don't need to use one of those precious USB-C or USB-A ports, which you might not have many of. Just does it all wirelessly via the Bluetooth. Pretty nice. Now the D200X takes this a step further. Not only does it have the dials that not only have a backwards and forwards dial-y function, they also push in like a button, so it's multi-function. You have the 2 buttons on the bottom here, also just regular old buttons. And then these guys you can see, they're kind of glassy looking, and that's because each of these buttons, not only apart from feeling nice and mechanical, which I like, they're also like a little screen. So you can not only program it to whatever your custom operation is, whatever you want it to do, you can also add an icon so that you can see at a glance what it is. And on top of that, you can make profiles for each piece of software. So let's just say you're out on the desktop, you might have lots of stuff that you want to do. launch applications and stuff, you can have them all across here, and you can have all of the different icons for those pieces of software all on here. Now, when you go in DaVinci Resolve, you need the blade tool. You look down, you might use the blade tool a lot. I don't really, but let's just say you did. It's an easy one. You could have an icon of a blade on there so you can quickly at a glance see what it is, and you don't need to remember which button does what. You can see at a glance. Super handy. Let's say you wanted to go to Photoshop, you needed a pen tool, same thing. And all of these totally customizable, and the best part about it is the software is easy to get, and it has a lot of profiles already built on it, which is surprising. It's how feature rich and how many profiles for different pieces of software they have on there. But you also then have a whole marketplace where you can just freely download for free tons of icons in different styles to whatever suits you. So it is pretty nice. It takes that controller feel from the dial and just ups the ante a bit. Now, on top of that, it does also, if you flip it around, have some other little things which the dial doesn't have. SD card reader, nice. Headphone jack, nice. Couple of USB ports, some power delivery USB-C for charging stuff, a USB-C port, another one which is what plugs into your computer by, and an HDMI port. So it is a hub as well as a controller. So anyway, instead of me just harping on about the specs of these things, how about I just show you how I personally use it, and you can see if it's for you. Let's have a look. All right, so we're going to try and muddle through this. It's not the most ideal angle, but it's the easiest way for me to just show you here. You can see my desk set up here. I have my speed editor and the D200X on this side. I have the micro color panel in the middle, keyboard in front of that, and then over here on the far other side, I have the mouse with my wrist rest and the D100H here. What I like here, look, you can see my computer is turned on. I can just go with it. I want to open up something. Sure, I could click on the bottom here, but I like just to be able to go apps and then, oh look, there's DaVinci Resolve. So you can see here, look, I have every single one of my applications along the bottom. I have Adobe After Effects, Photoshop, Lightroom, Blender, Post Haste, all these ones that I regularly use, Bamboo Studio for my 3D printer, Adobe for the Creator Cloud, and Cubase. And we'll just open buttons push. That is Chrome opening up. There is Post Haste, Blender. We can open up Blender. See, you're only limited by how fast your PC or Mac will load up stuff. Links. So I have a button for my links. And then here are a lot of the websites that I regularly use. Want to fire up YouTube? Kabam. It opens up Chrome and bam, YouTube is already there and open. So now here, the rectangle button. This is how you can change the profile that it's on, even if you're not in the software that you're changing the profile for. For example, if I just click this, it comes up where my mouse head is, and then I can go to Resolve, and now it just shows all of the Resolve stuff. I like also the fact that I have changed this button, this this rectangular button, which you press to change which profile it's in. While we're in DaVinci Resolve or while we're in Photoshop, I have it showing different things. So for example, if I go back to Resolve, look, it will show me my CPU, my RAM, and my GPU usage, which is just kind of nice if you're putting on effects while you're editing and you're just wondering how much of my processing power is being eaten up. It's just nice to have that there as a glance. You can have it as a clock. I preferred having it just as that. If I'm in DaVinci Resolve, for example, let's just say here, you could just click on, the page options at the bottom. You want to go to deliver page, you click on it with the mouse. I personally like just being able to go here, click on deliver page, and you're there. Click on color page, and boom, you're there. Click on the fusion page, boom, you're there. Click on the deliver page again, and you're back. Something I use a lot, which is copying stuff from one clip where you right click, select copy, and then go to another clip and you just paste the attributes, say like the color, the size, the position, the scaling, whatever. So I like to have this button here as copy and this button paste attributes, and it's just right there. I can just quickly click one, click the other, and boom, it is done. You could also use this because you can see it's Bluetooth. I could be sat back over the other side of the room, maybe watching a movie, and use this like a remote control for the player, because it doesn't have to be just the fact this is for YouTube. But I mean, if I have Pop Player open or VLC player, I could also use this like a wireless remote. So pretty handy. So there you go. Basically, if there's something on your computer that it can be controlled, you can control it. There's a profile for it already made, or you can just make one yourself. There's a million different ways you can use this thing, but that's essentially how I use it. Okay, so now for some pros and cons. The haptic feedback on the dial, I am not a fan of. I turned it off straight away. I find it made the noise just kind of grates through me, kind of like someone scraping a fork on a plate. You may love it. I didn't. I thought it felt like it was going to shake the unit to pieces. Didn't like the haptic feedback, but it's no problem. You can just turn it off. Another pro is just the buttons on the D200X. I like them. They feel kind of like, you know the thing with keyboards. Some people like a new keyboard. Some people like the mechanical keyboards. These feel like the mechanical keyboard of the controller world. They've got a nice solid feel to them, and they have a nice clunk when you push them in. They're just nice. And with that little screen, with the fact that you can put any icons on them, really works out nicely. Superb. And one thing that just bugs me just a little bit, maybe it's just me being a bit too picky, hit me up in the comments down below if you think I am, but personally, when I go to change profiles, I hit that bigger rectangular button and it brings up a circle. It just brings it up wherever the mouse, the cursor happens to be. And sometimes that's in like a really inconvenient place in the bottom of the screen, the corner, and it might cut off half of it, or it's not right there. And I would prefer it personally if it just brought it up in the middle of the screen and just a little bit bigger so it was easier to see. But not really a big deal. Now, another pro of both the D200X and the D100H is that out of the box, they come pretty much set up with a lot of stuff already there, straight out of the box, plug and play, very easy to set up. The D200X, you literally just plug the USB-C cable into the back of it and then into the computer that you want to use it on, be that PC or Mac. And the D100H, it's a Bluetooth device, so you just add Bluetooth device, set up this, couple of clicks, bada bing, bada boom, it is done. So they are very easy to set up. Now, I would be doing a disservice if I did not mention the fact that the D200X does look very similar to another product, the Elgato Stream Deck. Now, I don't really have much experience with the Elgato Stream Deck, but from what I've seen online, the software for customizing them looks very similar. The units look very similar and have very similar features. But what I can tell you is the price difference. Now, the D200X comes in at just $99, whereas the Elgato Stream Deck comes in at $199. And the kicker is that with the $199, it does not come as standard with the inputs and the hub kind of option for inputting USBs and all that kind of stuff. You have to buy that for another $60. So to get the exact same as the D200X, you would need to pay $260 or $259. So now overall, do I think it's worth getting? And for me, as somebody who is a fanatic lover of controllers, and I prefer to have the more visual buttons, options, and physical turny devicey things, I think it's great. I think for the price, it is fantastic. For the functionality, it is fantastic. Just, I love a good controller, and I love being it speeds up my workflow, makes everything more efficient. I love the fact that you can have multifunction buttons where you can program in, like, I think in other software they call it macros, where you can get it to do 3 different things at once. You can push one button and it will open Internet Explorer, wait a certain amount of time, load up this website, type in this search command. one button press. That is really cool. But even just using like one button things, open up YouTube, open up DaVinci Resolve, switch to the cut page, switch to the edit page, zoom in and out. I just love the fact that it's more tactile and it takes away from the very annoying experience of having to like click on different options with a mouse and then adjust them or remember 1,000 hotkeys. I love controllers. If you are someone who just prefers using the hotkeys and you want a very, very, very minimal setup on your desktop, probably not for you, although these don't take up a lot of space anyway. What do you guys think? Hit me up in the comments down below as always. And like I say every time, if you like these kind of filmmaking tips, tricks, gear reviews, all of that stuff to do with the filmmaking world, you know where to find me. A couple of buttons down below, like and subscribe. Until next time, guys, peace.